was like a little chaotic with the dog.
Still kind of warm in here.
Yeah.
But I damped it down after we left and shoved a big piece in there thinking it might.
Yeah. Do you think that?
I like it.
Yeah.
Man, every time we start this, I go, man, I really need to readjust this thing.
Yeah.
I just did this yesterday, and
There's just no.
it's gonna fall off.
Yeah. You just mess with it till you get it. Hear that crackle? It's still real fire season here,
It's time. It's chilly in here, so we need that going.
and I like real fire season.
Jocko Go Lemon Tea. Did you see? Who was it I saw endorsing old Jocko Go yesterday? This is probably why we're not getting a call.
Was it Portnoy?
No, it wasn't Portnoy.
Yeah.
Love Portnoy, but no, it was Chris Pratt.
Remind me.
Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Parks and Rec,
Okay.
the Terminalist,
Sick.
the greatest actor of all time, and one of the only people to actually be a conservative person and survive in Hollywood because it's very hard, and be outspoken about it, and be outspoken about God and things like that.
Maybe
he's endorsing Jocko.
Maybe that's why he's not calling us back. Who knows?
Maybe could be. Ooh, you might be able to throw some in there.
Now, if we
Oh yeah, you got flame on, bro. Throw a few more.
if we needed to,
I'll do it.
in the middle of summer,
Yeah.
if we needed to, we gotta get Jocko in a room with us.
God.
Big Sky, Montana, the intersection of Jocko, Putty Marcher, and me. What do we got to do, man?
He's way too big to give a
Do
fuck
you got to
about
strap
that.
on a? Is it called a gi?
A gi. I'll buy a gi from him.
What's it called?
Threaten him to a mixed
Jujitsu?
jiu-jitsu
Do a little
competition.
jujitsu.
Dude, I'm terrible.
Did you know he broke Dudley's neck?
Yeah, I heard something like that. Yeah, he broke his neck.
I think that's how the story goes. It wasn't like, I mean, he broke his neck in a small way, but it's still a broken neck or whatever because Dudley wanted to jujitsu him at some
and really
event
go at it. Like not, I remember I heard it or read it or something.
Yeah, that's how I remember the story too.
Yeah, that he told him, don't hold back. And so
Yeah.
he broke his neck. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I bet he felt a little bad about
That's
it.
a story they tell around the campfire, I bet.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one. But yeah, I saw Chris Pratt endorsing old Jocko Go stuff.
Yeah.
I remember he said his favorite flavor was, but I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get
He's a good dude.
Let's get your opinion on these.
Oh, yeah? Hold on.
And make sure you tell the people what they're looking at
God,
for the
why do you-
for the listeners.
Why are those fletches so far up there, Tim?
So I pulled an arrow out of my quiver on my left here, and that's what the other person said that looked at it. I don't know. That's where we marked it on the fletching thing, so I didn't get facial pressure on the fletches because of my beard.
Yeah, I seem to do okay with facial pressure on my fletches, so whatevs. But because I have more of a beard than you do, buddy. But I think anymore, honestly, you like go through your decision making process and go, what can I do that will irritate Josh the most, so I can get a reaction out of him and we can talk about it on the podcast. Do you sit down and think about this shit?
I scheme on it.
Yeah, I figured as much. Let's move the fletchings like way ridiculously forward.
I
and
didn't
then
do that. I did
and
not-
then put 4 on there.
Did not.
Just
I
to-
didn't
oh,
move them
just to
down
get
on
at 'em.
purpose. I did not move them down on
Just
purpose.
to get it looks ridiculous.
Now,
It looks so dumb.
now 4. Now 4. Yeah. Did I do it to get a rise? Yeah, that's definitely part of it. But also, I've never shot 4, and I don't know, man. I'm not giving the arrows full credit. Obviously, tell them what the arrows are. You know,
This is a 3DHV 400, which is basically an RIP Extreme Velocity 400, but they come with a knock bushing instead of a straight knock insert, and then they don't come with an insert, so whatever point you want to put in there, you're not throwing away a component. This is the lightweight target 5mm arrow from Victory.
and if you're not familiar with the term knock bushing, it's like the knock goes into this little thing that goes into the back of the arrow. That kind of protects the back of the arrow, right?
Well, it protects it a little bit, and then it also makes it easier to replace a knock. So when you hit an arrow, with another arrow, there's aluminum back here, not carbon, so it'll deflect a little easier, less likely to break the end of the arrow. And then the knock itself can be replaced on this type because it's not a pin; it's a G knock bushing. You'd actually take a sheetrock screw and heat it up a little bit and thread it into the plastic, and then let it cool, and then pull it out, and the tail of the knock would come out if you broke the knock off, and then just insert a new knock. And I actually prefer. Well, this will be a risky topic, I guess. I don't know. Target people love pin knocks.
Yeah.
Which is a piece of
There's
metal
a
that
pin in a
sticks out.
bushing. I know what you're saying. It's like a little nipple, right?
So it's a piece that sticks out, and then the knock goes over it.
Mm-hmm.
This actually goes inside the arrow, so this indexes internally. And there's a reason I actually like this better personally. One, they're way more durable. Like a pin knock, you can breathe on that knock and
seems
you'll
like
break
it'd be
it
real
off.
easy to bend the pin too.
Well, that's the point. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's really hard to tell when the pin's bent a little bit.
Yeah, which
You'll draw back, shoot that arrow, and it'll hit like 12 inches different and not realize that happened. And if you're replacing a knock on an arrow in a pin knock situation, you're probably doing that in a tournament because somebody else smacked your arrow, right? So that arrow just cost you like 10 points. I have never had a bushing like this, replace my knock, put a knock in, and not have it hit in the same spot. I've had it break. I've had people like actually hit it square enough to telescope the arrow and break it. But you do the same with the pin knock. It wouldn't matter. But you can't put one of these in crooked. So that's really why I prefer that. It's harder to get the knock out and replace it if you're going to use that type of system. But personally, I think it's smarter.
Now, you told me these spine out to be a little bit light.
Little tiny light of spine, I think.
I went 400 spine. Where would I start to notice the spine being too weak?
Erratic flight and parachuting.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Right now they are flying pretty well. I think I just shot some of my best 70-yard groups. I can't give the arrows credit completely, obviously, because I'm shooting a new bow and a lot has changed, but damn it, is it nice to shoot outdoors after shooting indoors for months.
Right.
My pin is so much steadier. It's unbelievable. It feels like a transformation from fall to spring. So it's pretty cool to shoot from 70 yards and watch my pin just float around like a orange dot instead of, it used to.
The sight picture used to see, yeah.
It used to move a lot, and
Yep.
there's a lot that goes into that, but it's cool. Okay, now this is backup arrow B. I think right now it's probably my B choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't shot those as much at range. And I do want to test these side by side in the wind. Tell them what they're looking at there.
PS23 Black Eagle, 350 spine. Another worse FOC arrow with more drag.
Yeah. And so a 4 fletch with the mini sabers on the back, white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shot those at 20. They golly, I can kind of see an argument now why some people do actually shoot 23s indoors. Maybe they just shoot really well. Those things seem to be hitting behind my pin really well.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're faster. I don't know. The arrow weight on these, by the way, is like, I know these are 337, and I think those are like 347. They're both very light. This one, actually, surprising, the 3D HV, it has 150 grains in the front to get me to 337.
Yeah, it's probably too much tip weight for that arrow.
Yeah, it could be.
So if it does start to get erratic, pull the points out and break off 10 grains or 20 grains and then put them back in.
Yeah.
Because if it's weak, that's why it's weak. It's because you got 150 in the front of that. At that
But it's crazy how light the GPI is on these 3D HVs. It was like,
it's the lightest GPI arrow I've ever found.
what's 337 minus 150? Is that 187? So they're roughly less fletching weight.
Yeah, well, and then you got 4 veins that are like 5 grains a piece or 4 grains a piece on there, right? So there's another 20 grains.
Yeah.
That's another 10
So these
grains.
were roughly, say, 165 pre-weight. It was crazy when I put
Probably
them on
more
the
like
scale.
150 if you took away the knock
Yeah.
bushing, the knock,
And
all that other junk.
how was the durability on these? Do you find them to be brittle or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're never going to get an arrow that light unless all you're putting in is really high modulus carbon. And that weighs less, but it's more brittle. That's why a lot of times you'll never see a super heavy arrow run a high modulus carbon unless it's got metal in it. Put metal in it, you end up with a heavier arrow. But the level of modulus, which the lower level modulus carbon is cheaper. So that's part of why an Axis weighs what it weighs, is it doesn't have any high modulus carbon in it. And that's part of why that arrow is so heavy. They can make that exact same arrow with high modulus carbon and it would be a lot lighter. But they don't yet. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. TBD.
Yeah.
My friend Lucas Palmer, who came down to Nevada with me, just put a video on the internet kind of supporting the light arrow theory. Were you able to see that a little bit?
Yep.
Did you feel like his math and reasoning was fair?
Yep. I
Yeah.
think it was fair.
Yeah. Lucas has done a good job putting some math to the things that we talk about a lot and doing it in a way that's simple enough for a person who's not an engineer to understand. So good job, Lucas, on doing that. I will actually link that video down below if you guys want to go check it out. I think he's done a nice job just explaining some simple things, and he doesn't have a dog in the fight. He's just like, I'm an engineer. Here's some thoughts. Here's some theories. You know, him and his hunting partner, I know in the last couple of years, we know of his hunting partner, and they both maybe could have benefited from a little lighter arrow setup. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts to elaborate on that?
I think he painted a picture that was reinforcing what I've been saying a lot in a positive way, and a visual that you can see.
Yeah.
And it gave me an idea to actually make a tangible, repeatable test that you can see. He gave me some ideas of
That's
actually, because he had math in a numeric way to the resistance and the movement. So then all you got to do is get a device that moves and run it to a trigger to when your bow goes off.
And
so you can sit there and shoot it with different things and see how much different you actually hit.
And also in one of his videos, I don't believe it was that one, but he had he used the generally accepted math for penetration through an animal. And it all kind of supports, what what you've recommended for a while. And what I've come to form is,
Just for clarification,
yeah,
I've been using a 400 grain arrow for 24 years.
Yeah.
And rarely heavier than 420 and plenty lighter than that. So it's not just willy-nilly thoughts. Like
Right.
I've done it a lot.
Yeah. And where I started at was about 475, really, with Western hunting and shooting through animals. And all I've experienced is my arrows just keep zipping through with my setups. And I'm like, well, hey, if my arrows are zipping through, I don't need more penetration. It would be nicer to get to the target faster.
As long as you're using the right broadhead.
Yeah.
It's the broadhead. It's not the arrow.
So I've been zipping through stuff, and so I've worked my way down. I'm just closer and closer to where you're at, but you have a little more draw length too. If I rewatched my Nevada hunt last year, I felt very good about how that shot broke, but that animal did move from 52 yards.
Yep.
If I didn't have it on video, I wouldn't know that, but it did move, and my arrow hit pure. But if it took half a second longer to get there, then what?
There was another thing that he did in his video that I really liked. He changed the decibel level and tried to give a little more benefit to a heavier arrow being quieter.
Yeah.
And it still didn't help.
Yeah, and which I'm not sure how much I give to that.
Close that door.
Yeah.
Should crank in and pull that off there. So it doesn't get too hot.
I'm not sure how much I give to that because I've heard that argument so many times that hey, I shoot a recurve, I shoot a slow arrow, doesn't make noise, it's much quieter, and I've just seen so many videos of animals jumping the string on recurves and longbows and stuff like that. I just think there's a noise, it's unnatural noise, and there's a reaction.
My dad shot a traditional bow for 30 plus years. I watched him shoot at so many animals, and they hurt him. They absolutely hurt him. Like it wasn't like, oh, my bow's not loud, it doesn't matter. It frickin' matters. Yeah, it really does. And you're not going to eliminate it. It won't matter if you shoot an 800 grain arrow out of your bow and coat the thing in bed liner. It's still going to make noise. They're still going to hear it. Maybe it's not quite as loud. Maybe it's not quite as alerting, but you're still going to get the same reaction and movement. That the difference in time of movement is so minuscule that it doesn't offset how much slower your arrow's traveling to the target. So, but yeah, like I said, I watched that video and I thought about it for like 5 minutes and I went, okay, there's a way you can show this a lot better. And so that's what I'll try to work on the next couple.
Got the wheels
turning. I'll try to make something that you can actually visually see it happen.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing how you can do that and test that, and have good visuals to show those kind of things. Yeah, I think you have a wonderful platform for that kind of experiment. And we have a freaking slow-mo camera sitting behind me. That's basically part of a set.
We just keep waiting for a really nice bright day to see what we can frame it at.
We're really excited to see just how slow a mo we can capture, because we're not going to be limited by the camera's capabilities. We're going to be limited by the amount of available light.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to get some really good crispy slow-mo for people to see.
Well, I've got to, because when I start testing broadheads, there's things that you want to show people.
Yeah.
That you have to be able to show people.
It'd be really
and
cool.
You need a slow-mo camera to do it.
Yeah.
That's originally why I bought that. That and some tuning things where you could actually see what the arrow was doing when it came out of the bow, when you changed it this way or changed it that way. That's really all I bought it for. And it was not cheap. It was $10,000, and it's been sitting there for over a year.
Yeah, we turned it
And
on
then
one time.
all the lenses don't work with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to get a cinema lens to get it to work.
Yeah, so currently I have the least expensive cinema lens I could find.
Yeah, when you say those two words, cinema lens, those things are expensive.
Yeah. Well, I got one, and we should be able to be far enough away from it that the camera won't get damaged.
Yes.
Because it'll be, hey, let's shoot this into a cinder block and watch what happens.
Yeah.
Let's shoot this through steel and watch what happens. And then, some other tangible things. But I'm really excited to get started on that. But it's a scary thing because there's so many broadheads. Oh my God. Like the number of ones you could test, it's just bonkers. And there's only so many things you need to really test.
And what's the best format? And then how do you work the cobwebs out of it? It's like when you started doing bow reviews, your bow reviews are different now than they were when you started.
Yeah, you'll always evolve what you're doing for sure. But I think in general, I've got some basic things that I need to be able to show, and some basic measurements to make, and a tool I can buy, or two tools I can buy that I will want, but one I have to test if the weight that it measures is high enough. So I have to I have to build my contraption for what it's going to go through, and then put physical weight behind like a really dull kind of broadhead, and put actual stacked weights on it and make sure it pushes through at that weight. Because I've got a device that I can give you an exact numeric number of how much force it took to push something through something. So I mean, when you think about it in reality, and if I use an equivalent medium and equivalent things like leather of a certain thickness, right? So you have that tangible measure. And then rather than use bone, I got this one guy who's been reaching out to me over the web, over my email, and he offered a couple suggestions of materials that you could use that would be duplicatable. Like no matter, you could buy 1,000 pieces of this, and everyone's going to have the same kind of consistency in it. So as you're trying to go through something or push through something, you'd get the same measurable difference in result. And I'm really excited about that because it'll shut a lot of this broadhead stuff up. I really think it will. Like you'll see how much more force it takes to push this through something instead of that through something. Like, does this front deploying broadhead really absorb more energy than this rear deploying one? Well, let's find out.
Right.
We push it through an object and it measures this much weight. I mean, it seems really easy and valuable to know.
Quantifiable too.
Quantifiable, and then just do set after set after set after set after set. But you're not going to do that and not show like some vapor trail through something on a broadhead, and a broadhead shooting into something that's hard and hopefully explodes it, so you can see like shrapnel and stuff. Because I mean, you got to have the sauce, right? Yeah, that's what you would call it, right? The sauce.
You got to do it.
Yeah, I need my artistic creative director here to make sure I'm making it look really cool.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Slow-mo is fascinating.
Yeah, and so that'll be a whole nother segment that I'll add on to it, and that'll be probably one of the days of the week because there's so many broadheads. If I did it one set a week, that would take years? 'Cause, I mean, there's only 52 weeks in a year, right?
Yeah.
I bet you it takes years to get through all the broadheads. Well, I mean, look at Lusk. I mean, how many different, which Lusk has a really good YouTube channel on broadheads. Go check him out if you haven't already. But if you're into hunting, I'd be shocked if you haven't found Lusk's YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's crazy that that's all he does.
That is
and
all he does.
Occasionally he'll publish a hunt, but
Yeah.
he has a YouTube channel has a backlog library of content that is nothing but broadhead reviews.
Yeah, and how many videos are on that thing?
I don't know. I could
It's
look
hundreds.
it up, but it's a lot. I'm sure.
I want to say I looked at it once, and I thought it was like 300 or 400 videos.
I would believe that to be true.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I was only doing one a week, it'd take like 4 or 5 years. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, every year they're making new broadheads. So
You just
that'd
have
be
to-
a ton of crap to do. When I say I need to make like a video almost every day to get all information out there in a reasonable amount of time, that's a realistic thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now, in a very strange turn of events, you said to me today, you said, did we get another bad review is what you said or something like that? What'd you say?
I've been checking like twice a week or whatnot to see how our review numbers look.
Yeah.
Because I noticed the Apple one especially was really low. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, holy crap. So I went and checked that one. I thought we were at 5.0 the other day, and now it's back at 4.9 again. So I went, do we get Karen again?
Yeah.
We got Karen again?
And you asked me that.
Oh
and
my God.
I couldn't help but laugh because today I looked and I saw the same thing. I was like, okay, we went to 4.9. All right. Maybe a couple people left 3-star reviews or 2 stars or whatever. It happens or whatever. I understand. And
Not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right?
Yeah, you can't please everybody. And then I scroll to the right. In the middle of these reviews of the crowd who's just been like leaving us reviews, helping us out, leaving these things. The first one says, "I'm here to out the Karen. Love it. Keep it up and don't change anything. I watch all your videos on all your channels and platforms, so on and so forth." That was the one prior to this. And the one before that is inconsistent. 1 star. This podcast started out being educational/informational and quickly became a relatively empty hour. Very sad. By Dude Who Knows 1. So not only were we on the mission to like crush our Karen review, we have a chapter 2 now.
God. Wow, we're not informative, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. For that kind of person, I normally don't like to address hate, but for that kind of person who felt very upset, if you ever have the opportunity to create some content, you want to create regular content, and you want to do it every week for your audience, not everything is going to be the same.
Right.
Every episode is going to have a little different vibe. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about Rogan's podcast after just like, he's been around for so long and he's had such diversity of guests and that kind of curiosity where he can have a conversation with many different kinds of people. I just think there's a longevity to that I appreciate because we can't come on here every week and talk about arrow weights or whatever. I mean, we could.
Yeah, that would be pretty dull.
Yeah, it'd be pretty
I would
dull.
think. I mean, and everyone's gonna be attracted to your whatever your podcast is or whatever your YouTube channel is for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he may have had the impression that this was going to be, we're going to talk about technical facts for an hour.
Yeah.
And that was never what this was actually set out to be. This originally was set out to be, I was talking to Tim and I was like, would it be like fun to just sit down and point out the negative comments and whatnot in your stuff and talk about them and bring them up and address them? And Tim's like, that's a podcast, dude. I'm like, all right, fine. I guess I got to do a podcast then. But that's what it was originally intended to be, was like just point out the gripes people had or the things that were shortcomings. But it really turned into just a place to talk about what's going on for us right now, or myself or him, depending on who's doing what. And then, talk about kind of more maybe a little behind the scenes of what you might be seeing on the YouTube channels or the processes that we experienced. And some, I guess, which I didn't think the intent was to do this, but maybe a little bit about my life and myself, and maybe a little bit about Tim and his life. That wasn't ever what I thought I would ever talk about, but we've done that numerous times now. We just did one yesterday with my daughter, which I was like, this is the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this. She talked me into it, but and bugging me about it since it started. But yeah, hey man, just the part that's hard for me is why even do that? Like, just change channel.
Yeah, change the channel.
Why sit there and say this could have been so great, but it's terrible?
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. That's a sad person. I feel for somebody like that. Because in reality, it's like, what do you got going on in your life that made you feel compelled to do that, to say that, right? I don't get it. Like, if you don't like it, change the channel.
That's pretty good perspective.
Just don't watch it. Like, if it's not what you thought it should have been, so you're going to be upset about.
Yeah.
Oh, is it your podcast? Oh, it's not your podcast. Just shut the fuck up. Sorry. Just Jesus. That's childish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's mommy didn't love them enough or something.
It's all good. What do you do? All that to be said. Round 2. We got another Karen. If you didn't hit round 1, we would appreciate it very much if you would hop in there and leave us a little review.
Yeah, hopefully you're watching this because you like it, not because you don't like it. But either way, it'd be nice if you'd keep the positive reviews coming. It's awesome. We've surpassed a lot of other podcasts already that are in this space relatively quickly with way less episodes.
Age, yeah.
Yeah, age. I mean, we're probably episode 40-ish or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't put a number on them, which I don't know if that was a mistake or not. Should we have numbered them?
No.
we didn't. Everyone I go look at, because when I'm comparing them, I'm like, okay, well, there's a decent amount of reviews here. I wonder what it compares to this one or that one, right? And we usually do really well in there. But I go look at how many podcasts they have. It's like they're like 150, 250, 350. Like, holy crap, we only have like 35 or 40.
Yeah, we've been doing one a week for about 8 months. So
Has it been 8 months? I
Something
don't
like that.
remember when our start date was.
yeah, we'll have to look it up sometime. Maybe we can celebrate a podcast birthday or something. one
Well,
day.
we're in the 30s then. That'd be like 35 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not very many.
Yeah.
So I like to think we're doing a relatively good job.
Yeah. No, I've had a pretty healthy relationship with being public facing. I focus on most of all the awesome stuff that comes from putting stuff out, and 99% of the people are awesome, and I focus on them. And every now and then it's fun to read a nasty little comment out loud.
That's the Joe Rogan quote, man.
Yeah.
It's like if the amount of people that are paying attention or following you, if 99 of them are awesome and one of them's an asshole, and you look at his 10 million views or whatnot, it's 100 million views. That's a million assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or don't read the comments.
And the other thing that gives me like a warm and fuzzy feeling is every time I meet somebody in real life, they're always cool. They're always respectful.
Yeah. That same person that left you a negative feedback would probably see you in public and want to say hi.
Yeah.
That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Like the same people that would bully you behind closed doors are just excited to see you. It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be that special time of year where, you got to be thinking about a hunting bow. You scheming?
Dude. Yeah. No, we talked about that once already. I just
Yeah.
haven't made any progress yet. I still got to have a string sent for them because most of them I won't keep the stock string on and build them, play with them, etc. But dude, it's trying to get caught back up from being gone for 8 days. I'm still trying to catch back up from being gone for 8 days, and it's been 2 weeks now. Yeah, because Doug was gone for a week, and Doug's been back for a week, and we're into that. So it's been more than 2 weeks from when I was gone for 8 days, and I am still not caught back up from that. And then we've continually had really good growth, and I can only relate that back to people paying attention, watching, and trying to support what we're doing, and I really appreciate that. That it's gotten so much bigger than I ever really thought it would. But I also like to think that we must be doing something right if that's the case. But yeah, it's just I can't be gone for 8 days, or I got to do something different.
Yeah.
Which I think at the end of the day, I got to do something different. I gotta be able to delegate more and it's hard to know how many employees you need and how much help you need.
It is hard.
And granted, it's going to be rare that I'm going to be gone for a week and then Doug will be gone the next week.
Yeah. Very rare.
Because we cover each other a lot. So while I was helping cover for him, I couldn't catch up on what I was already behind on because no one covers for me. If I'm gone, the things and responsibilities that I have just don't happen.
Yep.
So if I miss 8 days of work, I've got 8 days of work to catch up on. So I've still been working 12s, 14s, sometimes 16s.
That's why there's a need for the assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah.
That's why the job title's a real thing.
Yeah, it is a real thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody to manage my social media and edit all my crap would be great. And at the rate I'm going to add stuff, that's probably getting close to realistic, I would think.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting evolution of business that if a business grows to a certain point that you shift from working less in the business to working more on the business, which may not feel like as much work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not as much physical work, but it's mental work or it's strategy. It's having great people in place. Like at some point, every business, if they want to be big enough, the owner has to come to a point where they're like, they need a team.
Yeah, you have to let go of almost everything you're doing.
Yeah, and it's crazy because to get to that point, like your effort was in a different place, right?
Sure, and the thing that for myself that doesn't, well, one, emails don't get answered, but like I do all the FBA that goes to Amazon. And when I originally brought Dave in, I was going to have Dave do it.
Yeah.
But he was trying to, whenever we get something like returned, it gets sold on eBay as a used item, right? So, and there was just a pile of that, and he's still trying to go through that. So, but once he gets caught up with that, and he's adding another day a week for us here starting next week, which is great, which I begged him for.
Forrest?
Forrest? No, Dave.
Oh, Dave, yeah.
Dave, yeah.
Yeah.
So he should hopefully be able to also do the Amazon, which he was helping me do it for a while, so he knows how to do it. But we're still not completely caught back up on the amount of returns that we've had that need to get back out some way at a discount. So hopefully that he'll be able to absorb some of the stuff that I would normally do so I can be gone a little bit more. And, we're building a house for my mom right here on the property. And that's probably a couple hours a week of things that I have to do whenever they're done framing. I've got to dig the trench for the power to get it over to the structure. So that'll take a half a day or whatnot out of my life to do that. There's about 3 or 4 or 5 tasks on it that I'm doing myself because I have the equipment and I'm not a complete moron, so I can probably figure out some of it on what to do to try to save a little bit of money because it's every dollar I got to spend, right? So, but yeah, there's a lot, and it would be nice to remove a little bit more of that. I think I'll probably get to the point that the thing that'll absorb most of my time from business is answering emails. And I'm never going to stop being the one who deals with the manufacturers because I have really good relationships there, and it helps keep me on the pulse. We should have order generators done here pretty soon. So once when we need more product, it's automatically generating the order instead of me just doing it.
Yep.
Because all of it, like that entire building, everything in there is just me picking up a phone or sending a message and go, give me 10 of this, give me 20 of this, give me this. It's me keeping an active inventory in my brain, which is a lot. It'd be nice to not have to do that. And
no matter how much brain power a person has, like an automated system will, help.
It'll help. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm trying to balance millions of dollars of product,
Yeah.
right? And a flow of, at any one given time, a month, it's probably $500,000 coming in ish or so, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty bonkers. So to try to keep up with it is a lot.
Did you commit to or pick any dates for an ASA, or you think you might make an
Michael
ASA?
wanted to talk to me about it today, and we were both really busy and didn't get a chance because it's really more the ones that he wants to go to. And I'll just go. I'm half tempted to not even shoot because I want to record stuff and I want to talk to people and meet people and that kind of thing. And I'm tempted to not shoot.
I wonder how long the shooting commitment would take.
Well, somebody told me they have fun courses too.
Yeah.
So I could like go shoot a fun course or something for part of the day.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's probably a near a full day. I could message a couple people that go to those things and say, hey, how long is it? How far does it go, etc. Or maybe see if I could even recruit a couple people from around here that would want to go to them, and maybe go with like a group of like 4 people or something, just so there's some familiarity with some of the people, and maybe a little bit of help to, hey, can you hold this camera and do this and that kind of thing. So, because I've never tried to personally go somewhere outside of here to record stuff.
Right.
I've never actually done that. Someone else was always recording it, like whether it was you holding a camera or Dan or Jake or, or Keith or what have you. Somebody else was always doing that. And every once in a while I'd pick up the camera and hold it in point and record something for somebody. But I was never actually being responsible for it. I was never, what do you call it, a producer?
Yeah,
Producer
you
Tim.
just organizing all the ingredients you need to make your pizza,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done that. So
Yeah.
I had to figure that out here, and I've got a crash course coming quick between that and a couple of the other things that I want to do.
I mean, a good way to start would be just write yourself a little outline, here are the kind of the ingredients I would like, and then, reference that every once in a while, because in the heat of the moment, like it's real easy to forget that you intended to get something else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would suck to put all that time, effort, money, and energy into something like that and then not walk away with some kind of a product,
Yeah.
Um,
And there's a balance too, like between planning and unplanned stuff. There's can be really good stuff that comes from unplanned things that are organic or in the moment, but it definitely helps to have an outline or an idea of, hey, I want to capture a little travel. I want to, maybe, all the things that go into it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's good. It's good. It'll be good stuff. It'll be.
Sure.
I always like seeing people traveling on the road. It's cool to see, because you kind of get to bring your audience along in a way, right? I'm not going to go to the ASA, but it'll be cool to see what it was like you going to an ASA or whatever.
Sure.
Well,
yeah. So probably do 2. I've got Reading. I've got the Coeur d'Alene shoot that I agreed to go to.
just a little local 3D
Just
shoot.
a little local
That's
3D
what that is,
shoot.
yeah.
I haven't been to that in forever. Paul tries to get me to go every year, and I'm like, yeah, I'm busy that weekend, but I'll do that one. We got some extended friends / family coming into town, so I agreed to do that. So I'll definitely be at that, and then Utah Tech, or not Utah Tech. That's a scheduling conflict, but Big Sky Tech, San Antonio Tech. Probably do a third one. Colorado is still not a conflicting time for me when that one is. Probably ought to do one of the bigger local ones. We'll do Top End for sure, but like what was the one in Kalispell or whatever?
Oh,
Which one is it? Is it
we have a Northwest Mountain Challenge, then we
Northwest
have a
Mountain
Mountain
Challenge
Archery
and
Fest.
Mountain Archery Fest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't ever done either of those.
Yeah.
And that
Mountain
doesn't
Archery
require-
Fest looks like a fun event. Last I talked to him, he didn't seem like, or the event organizer didn't seem too interested in having people film during the event. I don't know if that's evolved or changed, but yeah, we have a couple cool local ones, and yeah, man, it's feeling like outdoor season, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to see the sun come out a little bit more.
Days are a little longer. Days are
Yeah.
a little warmer. I was just shooting my bows. I was in a hoodie, totally comfortable, shooting 70 yards, no wind. And yeah, man, it's coming around the corner. Golf season will be here soon. We're going to get Josh going on learning to golf because his daughter wants him to learn.
Yeah, because I've got so much free time.
Yeah.
I said I'd do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see you to learn golf because golf is so technical. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of things. It can be technical, it can be artistic, it can be very creative, it can be very more linear, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you take to that. There's definitely more than one way to skin the proverbial cat when it comes to golf. And there's also a lot of fundamentals. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's It'll be curious. You'd have a good perspective as an adult learner, because being an adult learner for a technical sport or something that's new to you is so rare, you know.
That's true. I mean, I played around with it a tiny bit when I was
Yeah.
younger, but I never really learned anything. And the biggest thing I can remember was I would never swing smoothly through it. I'd always get like really close to where I'd hit the ball and just crank it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't seem to stop myself from doing that.
I always
So I
describe
like
that
to think in my older age I could probably just
Yeah.
calmly swing through it now and just like
I always
just
describe
swing.
that. Some people have it. It's like waving a red flag at a bull. Like they just
Yeah.
see red, you know, and they
Yeah.
just swing as hard as they can. And yeah, that's definitely a trait some people have.
Yeah.
But it's just good to be an adult learner, you know, because
Yeah.
it puts you in a new perspective and give you some appreciation for, you know, someone who might be learning.
Yeah, I clearly have no problem making a fool out of myself, obviously. So that'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah. This is actually the first golf season in a while. Last year, I would say I was pretty excited for it, but this year I'm kind of itching myself. I'm personally, I want to make sure I get a good amount in and see what I can do.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just want to hunt.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I mean, how much time do we have in this? You know, where we at?
I didn't
didn't even pay attention. I think it's been a while.
Yeah.
Does that tell us?
We'll check real quick.
Look at it. I don't want to.
Yeah, we're at 46.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I've been going back and forth in my head a lot on this because I'm really contemplating spending more time hunting and possibly spending more money hunting. And I've always said I wouldn't film my hunting, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I don't. I'm trying to work through that in my head. I mean, do I really want to unleash that? I don't know. What's been your experience with that? Positives, negatives, etc. From because you've filmed a decent amount of your hunting already, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't always film everything either. I film some. I don't film others. Yeah, hunting's so special to all of us, right? Because we have a limited amount of time to do it.
Right.
And hunting, if you're truly trying to document a hunt in a good way and get the kill shot on camera,
Mm-hmm.
then you have two people getting closer to an animal. It makes hunting more difficult.
For sure.
It does. It makes hunting more difficult, especially with archery tackle. You know, getting even closer. And that's why so many archery films don't end up with a kill shot, is because it's just, I don't want to say it's unreasonable. It's just very difficult when archery is already difficult.
It's a lot to expect.
Yeah. And there's sometimes a little bit of luck involved when you do get the shot on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And people that hunt and produce stuff consistently, that's maybe part of the reason you seem gravitate towards hunting private, is because there is more opportunity. It is a little more of a controlled environment. It is more feasible to get that opportunity on camera versus, maybe a public land hunter might sweat it out for 2 weeks and have one opportunity at a bull or whatever.
All right.
For me, I don't think it takes away from the hunt when you kind of understand your formula for the video. I don't think it takes away from the hunt, and I love being able to look back on those hunt memories. I think particularly when it comes to making a hunt film, when I'm done, I'm more asking the question, is this something that I will be proud to look back on and watch?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fun to be able to look back on a hunt you did with your friends or family and have that as an additional memory bank that's stashed away.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, but the person that is running the camera or helping do that, I mean, you'd want that person to be maybe a better friend than camera person, really, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them,
Sure.
Hopefully they could be both, hopefully
Yeah.
they could be a good friend and a good camera person. But
Mm-hmm.
if I had to choose one or the other, I mean, you're spending time with them.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
you would want that person to be a good camera person or a good friend, and
Gotcha.
maybe a good camera person second. But no, I don't think it takes away from the hunt for me. And when I do choose not to film a hunt, sometimes I'll do that because maybe it's less of a compelling story to put together a film, or You know, this year, my whitetail hunt, I intended to film it, but I looked over my shoulder and there was the buck I was hoping to shoot, and I drew back my bow and shoot it. I wasn't going to blow the opportunity by reaching around and hitting the record button.
Right.
So, yeah, sometimes that's how it goes when you're trying to self-film. Yeah. Or the other option would be having another person in the tree with you all the time. Like, what a commitment to that is.
Right.
They're actually there the whole time with you, you know.
Yeah, that person's not likely volunteering their time. Yeah. So then you got to pay that. I don't know, man. I keep going back and forth on it.
Yeah.
If I start spending a decent amount of money hunting, it's like you probably ought to come back with something that can generate something.
Yeah.
Other than a brag, although I don't know. For the longest time I said I wouldn't do it, but I'm contemplating these things that are, you know, more expensive, and it's like, well, if I could just, you know, try to make something out of it, it's more. I mean, it's already a write-off for me either way if I want to, because I mean, I have a business that collates around it, but it'd be nice if you made something that created some revenue back. So I don't know what the right thing is to do on that, but I am thinking about it, and I swore I'd never do it.
Yeah, I think you know, hunting is pure, right?
Yeah.
And I would just try to keep it pure. If you can do that and film it, that's cool. If not, then I don't know. I wouldn't detract from something that you love to do to try to get a video out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if it doesn't work when you do it, it doesn't work. I get that. I mean, that's positive. Don't take away from the hunt. Do it.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go anyway, you know, maybe it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
I don't know. Never thought I'd be to that point and have to think about that and ponder that.
Yeah, but I mean, when in doubt, always too, you know, your best practice is just sampling it, you know, try it out. Pick something that's reasonable, feasible, and go send it, see what you can do, you know, see what you think.
Sure.
Don't overbook, right? Like don't plan to film 4 hunts in a year without knowing what one feels like.
For sure.
Yeah, see what that first one feels like and then evaluate, you know. Because ultimately, the other thing from just a purely content perspective is people have gotten to know you for archery information.
Right.
They like hanging out with you, talking about bows, talking about gear, talking about archery. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't need to make a hunt video.
I know, but
when you do make a hunt video, there's a chance it doesn't get as much traction as you hanging out in your living room reviewing a bow. You know?
Oh, I think it's likely it wouldn't.
Yeah, so
I think it's very likely it wouldn't.
So,
it's just one of those things that if you're going to spend the time anyway,
yeah,
you know, maybe you should. I don't know. Maybe comment down below. Should I be doing that or not?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a big demand. Maybe there's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just it's a good internal question. And you know, best thing to do would be sample it and then see what you think.
Sure.
Yeah. It would be cool, and hopefully maybe drumming something up to get up and do a spring black bear hunt. That could get you an opportunity to kind of sample what that might be like.
Well, yeah, and maybe go with somebody who wanted to film their hunt anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Work through it together.
Yeah. So
that's
spring hunts.
That's foreshadowing, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Spring hunts, golly, if you don't have a spring hunt on the schedule, put a spring hunt on the schedule. Like if you're broadhead tuned in the spring, do you know how far ahead of the general public that person is?
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a super positive thing because it makes you get all your ducks in a row by April.
Yeah.
Right.
If you've dusted off your camouflage, dusted off your boots, spent time in the mountains, spent time in the mountain winds, like, man, you're sharpening that edge, and, you know, experience is a real killer too.
For sure.
So you could rack up. It's very easy. Spring bear is the example I like to use because it's available to us, but it's also available to most of you if you can, you know, it's very doable to get a DIY spring black bear hunt. And if you're in North Idaho, that's a great spot to do it, or Idaho in general. And, you know, you don't have to go steep and deep to find them.
No.
You could just go find a nice
hard.
logging road with a nice, you know, nice canyon and pick it apart.
Yeah.
you might just find yourself a little fuzzy black bear crawling across a canyon, and the only problem is organizing the shot and going to get it.
That's the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a big advocate for getting out in the spring, and minus the ticks.
Yeah. Ticks. Ugh.
It's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Spring hunting's awesome.
I don't know what I would do if I got whatever that's Lone Star tick disease.
Slimes.
Whatever
Limes.
one makes it to where you can't eat red meat.
Oh,
I'd probably kill myself.
that would be terrible.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, and limes would be terrible. I don't know. That's something I'm a little paranoid about myself.
Yep.
I'm just super thorough.
Yeah, isn't there some conspiracy theory that Lyme's disease actually came from the government? Like they had it like on
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty good at conspiracy
I
theories.
think I heard it on Rogan
Yeah.
once or something, and it was like that they had deliberately like made these ticks have this poison in them that they could like inject into a country or whatnot, and they got out. And so that's why they are the way they are, or something or other. I can't remember that. I know I heard it on there once. So, but you hear all kinds of crazy stuff. So
Yeah,
who knows?
ticks are one of the creepy crawlies I'm not a fan of. Spiders as well. Not a fan of spiders.
Yeah, I don't mind spiders so much.
Floorless. Have you slept in a floorless tent?
No, that sounds terrible though.
It's the worst thing ever. I can't believe it's a trend that people are actually do. Like I did that, and I thought when I did it, I was like, well, what do you do with the ground? And then all you do is like scrape off the ground and throw a little tarp down or something. But you're not keeping the creepy crawlies away from you.
No.
You know, like backcountry camping is rough enough.
Yeah.
Having a floorless tent, I'm not into it. I mean, maybe you could trick me into it in the wintertime, maybe. The ounces that
creepy crawlies are
the
all
ounces that a
dormant.
floor is, I would give me the floor.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
It's terrible. I can't believe people do it. I did it, and I'm speaking from experience. Don't do that if you're thinking about it. Unless you want
Note to self: get a floor in your
don't
tent.
go floorless. Yeah.
Is that like going commando?
It's like it's like going commando for hunting, but far less cool. Or more cool, depending how you look at it.
Depending on your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite hunting boots? I want to talk about that for a second.
Well, I have very limited choices, so I'm not a really great example to ask.
Yeah.
I use Nevadas mostly from Crispy, but I also wear a size 15, so it's hard to find a hunting boot in general of good quality. Most of the good companies that I look at don't even make anything in my size. So Crispy makes like 3 boots in my size, the Nevada being the lightest of the 3. But supposedly this next year, I don't know when they start producing them or whatnot, they're actually going to make a couple of other boots in my size, so I can actually buy a lighter weight boot. I've always used Nevadas because personally, going through their entire line, depending on if you're doing a wide variety of hunting, like everything from weight on your back, 10 to 15 miles a day, to jumping in and out of a rig and driving to a tree stand or what have you, you can do anything with a Nevada. Period. And I tell customers that when they're trying to decide what boots they get. It's like, well, do you own a Nevada or a higher version of a Nevada, which is a hunter and a guide? So if you don't own one of those, buy that first because you can do anything in that boot. And then if you want to have something lighter weight, cooler for another type of hunt, then buy that boot. But you can still go on that hunt where you would like a lighter weight boot with a Nevada. You're just going to have a lighter weight boot, but you can't go on a mountaineering type of deal without at least that kind of a boot. So that's my determining line. It's like everybody should own a Nevada, period, which is very similar to a Kenetrek boot. Like if you look at that type of a design, there's half a dozen boots.
Most
that look
of the
like
mountain
that.
boots have a model that looks very similar.
But very similar,
Yeah.
and Crispy was the original designer of that look.
Yeah. The thing that sucks about these nice boot styles is like it's freaking a couple $100 to sample them, and then they don't break in right away, so you don't know.
Yeah, you have no way of knowing until you've worn them for a couple weeks.
I found Zamberlins to fit my feet the best, and it takes 10 miles to break them in.
Right.
Like
So that boot's not returnable, exchangeable
Yeah.
once you broke it in.
yeah, and now that's fine with Zamberlins that I like, but I've also ran other boots. I've ran Crispies, and I think Crispies are fine. They're just not the best fit for my feet. I've ran Salewas. Is that the right way to pronounce it? Salawa. Salew.
Solomon.
No,
Oh,
Sal.
so yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that
Yeah.
one, dude. Sorry.
Ran those. I ran Solomon. I'm trying to think what else. I have a big, heavy pair of Rockies that I use for insulated boots that I like. They're old.
Those are going to be old for sure. I don't even know Rocky exists anymore.
Yeah, I think they do.
Do they?
Yeah,
I haven't seen
do.
them in so
They're more a
long.
little bit of an Eastern company. But yeah, man, Zamberlins have kind of been my huckleberry. So
That's one I always wanted to try, but I'm pretty sure they don't make my size. That's what I'm doing is I'm looking up and seeing if they even make a Zamberlan in a size 15.
yeah, I'm not sure. But these little things, I don't know what the model is. These are like, they look like a hiking boot that is like a tennis shoe. Crispy also has something that's similar.
Mm-hmm.
These are great for wearing most of the year. Like I wear these to the range and I can beat the heck out of them. And yeah, but they took me 10 miles to break in. I thought for the first 5 miles, I was worried they were going to suck. I was like, these are going to be my first pair of Zamberlans that I don't like. And eventually they just broke in and I love them, but it takes a little while.
Yeah, no, they're I've only heard good things about Zamberlins, but like I said, I'm looking right here, details, see if they even make something in my size. I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only stop at like 13 on some stuff. There might be one model that goes to a 15.
Size discrimination. What do you
It
call
is.
that?
Well, you know, small man running the company, maybe. I don't know. But the what was it? There's a boot in Crispy that looks a lot like that they are making in my size this coming year, which I'm excited about. And there was one boot in their line that went down to that was a 14 that ran big. And I brought a pair in and I put them on and tried them on, and then a customer the next day begged me for them because I told them I think they're going to actually fit a 15 okay. And then they were out of stock and I couldn't reorder them. So I'm still struggling with a moderate weight to lighter weight boot would be nice, but supposedly they added like 4 or 3 this coming year. So I'm excited about that. And honestly, quality-wise, I've owned lots of different boots in my life. I've never owned something that I felt was equivalent quality to a Crispy that was the right weight and load restriction for what you're doing. I frequently see people destroy a pair of really lightweight Crispies because they're trying to do things with it that really lightweight boot was not designed for. But yeah, there's some really good stuff out there, and I know Zamberlin's a good company. That one that you can't pronounce, I think Dave really likes those, if I remember right. He's like the shoes he likes the best.
There's a few of them. There's like Schnees is another one.
Yeah, Schnees.
There's Lathrop and Sons. That's another one. Golly, there's one out of Idaho too. Tyler Denham has a pair that is kind of local mountain boot looking thing. They look pretty similar to Kinetrex. I wish I could get them a shout out. Yeah. Anyway, as you guys are watching this, we're like getting and cranking into the 3D season. You know,
It's coming around.
TAC's not too far away.
Coming around. Time
3D
to start
events
practicing.
are here. Hopefully you guys are getting out, shooting your bow, getting super tuned, getting ready for maybe a spring hunt because, shooting your bow.
I need to build some lightweight arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to build some target arrows so I can start shooting that stuff.
Yeah.
It's due. I got to get on it.
It's time.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we're going to sign off today. We appreciate you. If you leave us a review, that would be amazing to kind of go.
Go offset Karen. Number 2.
We have another Karen.
What a hater. What a hater. I just feel like, they must not listen to that much because, they
Who
would have
knows?
gotten to the, hey, go give us a shout out. Must have not.
Yeah. All right.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.